The Galactic PE Class Challenge. The Galactic Council Chamber was a place of power, filled with beings from countless star systems. Today, however, something unexpected was about to happen. The council members, some of the most intelligent and advanced beings in the galaxy, were gathered around the massive round table, discussing matters of great importance. Their discussions ranged from intergalactic politics to the fate of dying civilizations, but the topic of the day was something very different. A lone human diplomat stood before them, dressed in the simple attire of Earth, completely unfazed by the intimidating presence of the council members. He was a young man, with a quiet confidence about him that seemed out of place in the presence of such formidable beings. The room grew silent as the human cleared his throat. "I come from Earth with a request," he began. His voice was calm, but there was an undeniable spark of excitement in his eyes. The council members exchanged glances. Humans were known for their creativity, but they were also known for their boldness and unpredictability. What was this human going to ask for? "The request is simple," the diplomat continued. "I want to challenge you to a game of dodgeball." A ripple of confusion spread across the council chamber. Alien beings who could manipulate time itself, beings with unimaginable power, looked at each other in disbelief. A game. What kind of game could a species so primitive as humans possibly offer them? Dodgeball. The council leader, a tall alien with translucent skin that shimmered like a nebula, repeated. His voice was filled with amusement and skepticism. "You want us, the most advanced beings in the galaxy, to play a game. You think we have the time to indulge in something so primitive?" The human remained calm, even smiling. "Yes, that's exactly it. A simple game to test our strength, agility, and teamwork. You'll find it surprisingly challenging." A few of the aliens snickered, while others simply stared, perplexed. The council leader sat back, contemplating. "And what exactly is the point of this dodgeball? What does your species gain from such a ridiculous challenge?" The human's smile grew. "We don't gain anything, really. It's not about winning or losing. It's about showing you that humans are capable of more than you think. And I believe you'll be surprised." The leader was silent for a moment, his many eyes narrowing. "And if we refuse?" The diplomat did not hesitate. "You'll miss out on the chance to see how creative and unpredictable humanity can be." The council leader studied the human for a long moment, weighing his options. There was no doubt that the request was strange, perhaps even foolish. But there was something about this human's confidence that intrigued him. It was so human, so unlike anything the council had ever encountered. "Well," the leader finally said, his voice cold and calculating, "I accept. But be warned, human, we will not play lightly. We are not like you." The human nodded, unfazed by the warning. "I wouldn't expect anything less." And so, the challenge was set. The aliens were about to face something that no other species in the galaxy had ever dared to try. The game of dodgeball. A game they believed to be beneath them, something so trivial that it hardly warranted any attention. But the humans knew better. As the preparations for the game began, the alien leaders ordered their best warriors and strategists to join the challenge. They were confident that they would crush the humans with ease, laughing at the absurdity of the situation. After all, how could a species that barely had the technology to travel to the stars possibly stand a chance against their advanced minds and weapons? The human diplomat, meanwhile, prepared his own team. He had selected the best and brightest from Earth, individuals who were quick, resourceful, and most importantly, fiercely competitive. They were all aware of the stakes. This wasn't just a game. It was a chance to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. It was a chance to prove that their strength lay not just in technology or power, but in something far more unpredictable. The aliens, meanwhile, began to gather on their side of the arena, their impressive physiques towering over the humans. They were warriors, each one trained in the art of combat, and they had the strength to match. They stood tall, ready to show the humans just how weak they were in comparison. As the humans and aliens took their places on the field, there was an electric tension in the air. The game was about to begin. But what the aliens didn't know was that the humans had something far more dangerous than advanced technology or brute strength. They had something that no other species in the galaxy had truly understood: a deep, relentless desire to win, no matter the odds. And so, the stage was set. The first ever intergalactic dodgeball match was about to begin. The galaxy would never be the same after this. The large stadium in the heart of the galactic empire buzzed with anticipation. Its sleek, advanced architecture was nothing like Earth's sports arenas. The walls shimmered with light, and the sky above was filled with floating platforms. Alien species from all across the galaxy filled the stands, watching with curiosity, and in some cases, amusement. To them, the idea of playing dodgeball was absurd, especially against a species they deemed inferior. The human team, on the other hand, stood together in their corner of the arena, fully aware of the massive challenge they were about to face. The aliens had taken every precaution to ensure the game was fair, or so they believed. The field was designed to be perfectly even for both sides, with no apparent advantages for either party. But the humans had their own plans, and they had learned from experience that winning wasn't always about brute strength. The game would begin soon, but the humans weren't intimidated. Their captain, the same young diplomat who had issued the challenge, gathered his team for a quick strategy meeting. He stood before them with a smile that exuded calm confidence, though inside, he knew how important this moment was. His team was diverse. Some were athletes, others were quick thinkers, and a few were natural-born strategists. Together, they formed a group capable of incredible creativity and unpredictability. "All right, everyone," the captain said. "Remember, this isn't just about throwing balls and dodging them. It's about using our surroundings, our instincts, and above all, our ability to adapt. The aliens may be strong, but they're not used to thinking on their feet like we are. That's where we'll have the advantage." The team nodded, their faces set with determination. There was no turning back now. They had come this far, and they were ready to show the galaxy just what humanity could do. Meanwhile, on the alien side, the atmosphere was very different. The warriors chosen by the Galactic Empire were imposing figures. Massive beings with armored exoskeletons, glowing eyes, and multiple limbs. They were trained in combat, and their species had never lost a fight. Their leader, a fierce alien known for his tactical genius, stood at the front of his team, watching the human players with disdain. "This will be a lesson to them," the leader muttered to his companions. "They may think this is just a game, but they'll quickly learn that nothing is easy when facing the might of the Empire. Let's show them the true meaning of power." The aliens believed that their strength alone would guarantee them victory. They were used to crushing any challenges that came their way with sheer force. But they were about to learn a painful lesson. Underestimating the humans could be their biggest mistake. The countdown began. A voice echoed through the stadium, signaling the start of the game. As the timer reached 0, both teams sprang into action. The humans, who had spent countless hours practicing, knew exactly what to do. They didn't charge recklessly or try to overpower their opponents. Instead, they spread out, using their quick movements to throw the aliens off balance. The first few throws were aimed not to hit but to confuse. Fast, controlled, and precise. The aliens, expecting an all-out attack, were caught off guard. One of the alien warriors lunged forward, attempting to take out a human player with a powerful throw, but the human captain easily sidestepped. He had seen it coming from a mile away. The alien's momentum carried him forward, causing him to trip over his own feet. The crowd erupted into laughter. It was a small victory, but it was enough to make the aliens realize that the humans weren't as weak as they had thought. For the next few minutes, the humans used their agility and teamwork to keep the aliens on edge. They dodged and weaved, throwing balls not to hit, but to manipulate their opponent's movements. One by one, the aliens started to show signs of frustration. Their powerful limbs and advanced technology were no match for the humans' quick thinking and unconventional tactics. The human team's strategy was simple yet effective. Confuse and outmaneuver the enemy. They weren't just playing to win. They were playing to prove a point. That no matter how advanced an alien species was, the humans had something that couldn't be calculated: creativity. But as the match wore on, the tension in the arena grew. The alien warriors, still believing in their superiority, began to fight back harder. The human team was not prepared for the aliens' sudden shift in intensity. The aliens began using their technology to enhance their throws. Energy blasts shot through the air, sending shockwaves across the arena. The human players had to duck and dodge not just the balls, but the raw power of the aliens' energy-based attacks. "Stay sharp," the human captain shouted, urging his team to stay focused. "We knew they'd fight dirty, but we've trained for this." Despite the increasing danger, the humans kept their cool. They had anticipated that the aliens would resort to their strength, and now was the time to show their true abilities. They had to use the arena's layout to their advantage, using every available obstacle for cover and working together to outsmart the aliens. But as the game continued, one thing became clear to both teams. This was not just a game. It was a battle of wits, of willpower, and of survival. And while the aliens relied on power, the humans were proving that intelligence and strategy could be just as deadly. The game was far from over, and both teams had yet to reveal their full potential. The galaxy was watching, and they were about to witness something that no one would ever forget. The game had escalated quickly. What started as an amusing challenge between species had turned into a brutal display of skill, power, and strategy. The humans were holding their own, but the alien team was beginning to adapt, using their strength and technology to gain an advantage. Every time the human team made a move, the aliens countered with greater force. The energy blasts, aimed to knock out the human players, were becoming more frequent, forcing the humans to constantly adjust their tactics. The alien leader, who had been silently observing the match from the sidelines, could feel his pride slowly crumbling. His species, once unbeatable in all things physical, was now being outmaneuvered by these so-called primitive humans. He gritted his teeth, determined to put an end to their taunting, but he knew this would require more than just brute strength. The humans had proven that they were no ordinary opponents. Increase the pressure. The alien leader barked to his team. "We will crush them beneath our power. Show them what it means to challenge the galactic empire." And so, the aliens turned up the heat. They began using their advanced technology in ways that were never part of the original rules. Suddenly, the dodgeballs themselves were charged with dangerous energy, transforming into weapons capable of obliterating anything in their path. The human team had no choice but to react quickly, darting out of the way of the deadly projectiles. But just as the humans were starting to feel the weight of the aliens' power, something unexpected happened. A loud, blaring sound echoed through the stadium. A signal, a familiar one, emerged from the depths of human history, an ancient frequency that had been dormant for thousands of years. It was a signal only the human team could recognize, one that sent an electric jolt of hope through them. Captain Jake Carter, who had been dodging yet another energy blast, suddenly froze. His heart skipped a beat as the realization hit him. The signal was from Earth, from their last-ditch effort to send a message into the galaxy, hidden beneath layers of advanced encryption. The humans had a secret weapon, one that no one expected. He called to his team, "I need everyone to hold your ground. We've got something that can turn the tide. Just hang on for a bit longer." The team quickly adjusted to his orders. They knew what this meant. They would have to keep their cool and survive a little longer while waiting for the signal to come through. If they could hold on, they would unleash something far beyond what anyone in the arena could have imagined. Meanwhile, the alien team noticed the shift in the human strategy. Their movements became more deliberate, less frantic. The dodging and weaving that had once seemed like pure survival were now precise and calculated. The alien warriors, still bent on overpowering their opponents, grew impatient. "Why are they stalling?" one of the aliens muttered. "Are they trying to mock us?" "Let them think they have a chance," the alien leader replied, his voice cold with disdain. "We'll destroy them when they least expect it." The aliens' arrogance was their biggest mistake. They underestimated the humans' resilience and their ability to adapt. And just when the aliens thought they had the upper hand, something incredible happened. The signal, that faint, ancient transmission, began to intensify. The humans' hidden weapon was activated, an AI system built centuries ago, far beyond the capabilities of the aliens' technology. This eye wasn't just an ordinary computer program. It was a piece of Earth's forgotten history, one that had been dormant for generations, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The alien team froze as the energy in the arena shifted. A mysterious force seemed to blanket the entire playing field. They had no idea what was happening, but they knew that something had changed. The once vulnerable humans were now empowered with knowledge and technology that they could never have imagined. Captain Carter smirked, his voice barely audible as he whispered to himself, "Now it's our turn." In the blink of an eye, a wave of energy surged through the arena, emanating from the very core of the human team's strategy. The energy from the dodgeballs, once deadly and overpowering, began to dissipate. It was as if the humans had tapped into something far greater than anyone had anticipated. The dodgeballs turned from dangerous projectiles to harmless objects once again, unable to harm the humans anymore. But that was just the beginning. The AI, harnessing its long-forgotten power, began to manipulate the environment. The arena's obstacles shifted and moved, disorienting the alien warriors. The humans, now guided by the ancient intelligence, found new ways to outmaneuver their opponents. The aliens, once confident in their ability to dominate, were now scrambling to keep up with the humans' unpredictable tactics. The crowd in the stands, once murmuring with disbelief, now erupted in stunned silence. They had never seen anything like this before. The humans were no longer just playing to survive. They were playing to win. And the aliens, for the first time in this match, realized they were the ones who were outmatched. In a moment of sheer brilliance, one of the human players, using the arena's shifting walls to his advantage, launched a perfect throw. A move so precise it hit the alien leader's armor square in the chest. The alien leader staggered back, shocked by the impact, and for a brief moment, his own team faltered. The humans, riding the wave of momentum, seized the opportunity. "This is it," the human captain shouted. "We've got them now." As the human team closed in on their alien opponents, it was clear that the tide had truly turned. The Galactic Empire, known for its fearsome might and unyielding power, was being forced to acknowledge the resilience, intelligence, and unpredictable nature of humanity. They had underestimated Earth's most unexpected weapon, creativity. But the battle wasn't over yet. The aliens would not give up so easily. As the match raged on, the true test of the humans' ability to hold their ground was only just beginning. As the humans continued their unexpected resurgence, the aliens' disbelief grew. The tables had turned dramatically. The galaxy, once sure of the Galactic Empire's unbeatable supremacy, was now witnessing a stunning reversal. And it wasn't just the alien warriors who were caught off guard. The officials in the stands, beings from various parts of the galaxy, many who had watched this competition as an exercise in amusement, now found themselves uncertain of the outcome. No one had anticipated that the so-called primitive humans would hold their own, let alone outsmart the Empire's finest. The growing unease in the alien ranks was palpable. The shifting walls, once an advantage to the alien team, now worked in favor of the humans. Their ability to adapt quickly was a testament to something deeper, something the aliens had dismissed as irrelevant. A sudden explosion of sound echoed through the arena as the human captain, Jake Carter, called out to his team, his voice booming with confidence. We've got their number. Keep pushing. The Empire isn't invincible. The alien leader, Calthor, stood frozen, his once formidable exterior cracking. His arrogance was fading fast. His team was struggling, desperately trying to keep up with the humans' unpredictable tactics. The throw that had taken him by surprise earlier still rang in his ears. His armor, dented and cracked from the impact, reminded him of how vulnerable even the strongest could be. How are they doing this? Calthor muttered, clenching his fists. This is just a game. How can they defy us like this? In the stands, murmurs spread like wildfire. Representatives of dozens of alien races who had once mocked humanity's military capabilities began to question their assumptions. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They were turning the tide with a combination of quick thinking, adaptability, and a sheer will to win. On the field, the human team had synchronized perfectly. They dodged, darted, and threw with precision. It wasn't just about survival anymore. They were playing to win. Their movements, once erratic and desperate, had transformed into something far more cohesive. The human players had tapped into their secret weapon, the knowledge from their forgotten AI. And now they were using it to gain control of the environment itself. The AI, once dormant, had accessed the arena systems, allowing the humans to manipulate the very layout of the playing field. Walls rose and fell. Platforms shifted. The arena itself became a living, breathing obstacle course, and the humans were the ones navigating it flawlessly. The aliens, with all their technological prowess, were caught off guard by the sheer unpredictability of it all. Activate their defenses, Calthor ordered, desperation creeping into his voice. We cannot lose this. But it was too late. The humans had already anticipated such a move. The second the alien team tried to activate their defense mechanisms, the humans used their AI to override them, turning the aliens' own technology against them. The energy shields flickered and failed, leaving the aliens vulnerable. The once dominant Empire's finest warriors were now on the defensive. Captain Carter seized the opportunity. Now, take them down, he shouted, signaling his team. With a series of synchronized throws, the human team launched their dodgeballs with the force of 1,000 storms. The aliens, once sure of their strength, had no time to react. One by one, the alien players were knocked out of the game. First, a giant alien whose size and power had once seemed insurmountable was struck by a perfectly aimed shot from a human player. His massive form stumbled backward, crashing into a set of shifting walls. The crowd fell silent. The sheer shock of the event was too much for many to comprehend. The Empire had never faced such resistance. No one had expected this outcome. The humans, Earth's once forgotten species, had proved themselves to be far more than the galaxy's punching bag. Calthor's expression twisted with frustration. The humans weren't just winning the game, they were shattering his perception of the universe. For the first time in his life, he realized that victory wasn't guaranteed to the strongest. It was about adaptability, strategy, and above all, the willingness to fight. This is not over, he roared, slamming his fist into the console in front of him. But his voice lacked the same confidence it had carried earlier. The humans had broken his facade. They were no longer the underdogs. They were a force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, on the field, the human team was nearing victory. Their spirits soared as they saw their strategy coming to life. They weren't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to prove something to the galaxy, something that would echo through the stars for years to come. Captain Carter turned to his team, a fierce grin crossing his face. This is it, guys. One final push, and we show them exactly what humanity is made of. As the final moments of the match ticked away, the humans prepared for the last decisive move. The alien team was exhausted, their confidence shattered. The once mighty galactic empire, so sure of its dominance, was now being outclassed by a species they had once deemed insignificant. The tension in the air was thick, the entire galaxy holding its breath. Would the humans win, or would the Empire make one last desperate attempt to turn the tide? The answer was just moments away, and the fate of this historic challenge hung in the balance. The clock was ticking down. The last few moments of the match were like an eternity for both teams. The once confident alien warriors were now hanging by a thread, battered and out of ideas. They were not used to this kind of challenge. The humans, on the other hand, stood tall, despite the odds. Their once uncertain tactics had transformed into a synchronized, precise strategy. Victory was within their grasp. On the field, the human team stood in a formation, ready for one last strike. Captain Carter, sweat dripping from his brow, looked around at his team. They were exhausted, bruised, but their spirits were high. They had defied the impossible. They had taken on the might of the Galactic Empire and brought them to their knees. But they weren't done yet. There was still the final hurdle to overcome. "Ready?" Carter asked, his voice firm despite the tension in the air. The team nodded, determination in their eyes. They knew what they had to do. This final move would require every ounce of their strength and coordination. No room for mistakes. Across the field, Calthor, the alien leader, seethed with rage. His pride had been shattered. His empire, once the most feared in the galaxy, was on the brink of defeat at the hands of what he had always considered a primitive race. But he wasn't ready to admit it. Not yet. "Deploy everything," Calthor barked. "If we can't win by skill, we'll win by power." He gestured to his remaining players, who scrambled to activate the last of their alien technology. Energy shields flickered to life, and the ground beneath the humans began to shift, trapping them in place. The alien warriors gripped their dodgeballs tighter, ready to launch a barrage of attacks. But the humans were prepared. They had seen this move coming. The AI, which had been guiding their every step, had anticipated this very moment. Without hesitation, Carter raised his hand, signaling his team to hold position. The walls around them began to move in response to the AI's command. It was as though the arena itself was on their side now. Calthor watched in disbelief as the humans turned the tables once again. The shifting walls that had once been his advantage now worked against him. His warriors were caught off guard, their attacks deflected by the sudden movements. The energy shields, which were supposed to protect the alien team, malfunctioned, leaving them vulnerable. "Now," Carter shouted. The human team launched their final, coordinated assault. With the power of the ancient AI guiding them, each throw was precise and deadly. The dodgeballs whizzed through the air, their trajectory unerringly accurate. Alien after alien was struck down, their shields flickering out of existence one by one. The once strong empire was falling apart. Calthor stood frozen, his mind racing. His warriors had no chance. The humans were too clever, too quick. The Empire's arrogance, which had once seemed unshakable, had led them to underestimate their opponent. They had never considered that something as simple as a game could be the weapon that brought them to their knees. As the last of his warriors were eliminated from the field, Calthor's voice shook with frustration. "How is this possible?" he growled. "How did they defeat us?" The answer, of course, was simple. The humans didn't rely on brute strength or advanced technology alone. They had something the Empire could never comprehend: adaptability, resilience, and an unwavering will to win. The humans had learned to use the environment to their advantage, and with their forgotten AI guiding them, they had become masters of strategy. It wasn't just about winning a game. It was about proving that even the most powerful empire could fall if they underestimated their enemy. Carter and his team stood victorious. The alien team, once so full of confidence, was defeated, and the arena fell silent. The humans had done the impossible. They had taken on the Galactic Empire and won. The galaxy would never forget what they had just witnessed. As Carter walked to the center of the arena, his heart pounding in his chest, he knew that this victory meant more than just a win in a game. It was a message to the galaxy. Humanity was not to be underestimated. They had taken down one of the most powerful empires in the universe, and they had done it with ingenuity, teamwork, and the will to survive. And as the crowd, still in stunned silence, began to stir, one thing became clear. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The silence that followed the final throw was deafening. No one moved. No one spoke. The battlefield was frozen in time. The once confident alien warriors now scattered across the field, their hopes shattered in the wake of the humans' unexpected victory. The alien crowd, who had once cheered for their champions, was now quiet, unsure of what to make of the scene before them. The sight of humanity's triumph echoed through the arena like a distant thunderclap. Captain Carter stood tall, his chest heaving with exhaustion, but his eyes gleamed with the light of victory. The humans had done what many thought impossible. They had taken on the mighty galactic empire and won. But this victory wasn't just about winning a game. It was about sending a message. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they were more than just a primitive species. They were resilient, they were clever, and they could take on anyone, no matter how powerful. The AI, which had guided their every move, remained silent in Carter's mind, watching and calculating the next step. It had seen the power of the Empire and knew that the game wasn't just about defeating them on the field. It was about proving that humanity could stand up to the forces of the galaxy and survive. As the last of the alien warriors limped off the field, the human team gathered together in a circle, catching their breath. It was over. They had won. But they knew that this victory was only the beginning. What lay ahead was unknown, but one thing was certain. The galaxy had just been shown what humanity was capable of. "We did it," said Lieutenant Harris, his voice shaky but full of pride. He was barely standing, his arms sore from the intensity of the game, but the smile on his face was undeniable. "We did more than win," Carter replied, looking out at the alien crowd. "We showed them who we are. We showed them that we are a force to be reckoned with." But as the humans celebrated their victory, the leaders of the Galactic Empire were already discussing the implications of the match. Calthor, the once proud commander of the alien forces, was in a private chamber, his rage palpable. His hands clenched into fists, his eyes burning with frustration. He couldn't believe it. He couldn't accept it. How could this happen? Calthor muttered, pacing back and forth. "We were supposed to crush them. They were nothing." His advisors stood by, uncertain of how to respond. They had never seen Calthor this defeated before. His confidence had been shattered, and the mighty empire, which had ruled with an iron fist for centuries, was now facing the reality that they had underestimated humanity. "They are not as weak as we thought," one of Calthor's advisors said cautiously. "They are resourceful, adaptable. They turned a simple game into a battle for survival." Calthor's eyes narrowed. He had been wrong. The humans were not just a nuisance. They were a threat he had never seen coming. But the defeat was not the end. It was only the beginning. The Empire would have to regroup, learn from their mistakes, and find a way to eliminate this new problem. The humans had proven they could win in a contest of strength, but there was more to the galaxy than just games. There were real battles to be fought, and the Empire would not let this humiliation stand. Meanwhile, the humans had no idea that their victory had set off a chain reaction. The rest of the galaxy was now watching, waiting to see what would happen next. The Galactic Empire had been the undisputed power for so long, but now, for the first time, there was doubt. The humans had cracked the Empire's facade, and it was only a matter of time before the galaxy's powers realized that they could no longer treat humanity as a minor player. As the human team walked off the field, the crowd slowly began to stir. The cheers grew louder, and for the first time in a long while, humanity stood on the precipice of something bigger. They had just defeated an empire, but the path ahead was unclear. The victory was sweet, but the real test was yet to come. "Do you think they'll come for us?" Lieutenant Harris asked as they exited the arena. Carter paused for a moment, his eyes scanning the crowd. "Maybe. But if they do, we'll be ready," he said, his voice firm. The humans had shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. The victory in the arena was just the start of something much greater. And though the road ahead would be filled with uncertainty and danger, one thing was clear: humanity had made its mark on the galaxy, and the galaxy would never forget it. The days that followed the dodgeball match were tense. Word of humanity's unexpected victory spread like wildfire through the galaxy. The once untouchable galactic empire, who had ruled the galaxy for centuries with an iron fist, was now facing an unprecedented crisis. Their defeat at the hands of a species they had dismissed as weak and insignificant had shaken their authority, and many in the galaxy began to question the Empire's supremacy. As the humans regrouped, they couldn't help but feel the weight of the galaxy's attention on them. The victory had been momentous, but the implications were far greater than anyone had imagined. Captain Carter and his team knew that they had opened a door to something far more dangerous. The Empire would not take this humiliation lightly. They would come for revenge, and the humans had to be ready. "We've won one battle, but the war has just begun," Carter said, his voice grim as he stood on the bridge of the human ship. The stars of the galaxy stretched out before him, a vast expanse filled with both opportunity and danger. The AI, as always, was silent in the background, processing vast amounts of data. It had been essential to the humans' success, helping them strategize and predict the movements of the aliens. But now, the AI was analyzing the next steps with a focus that was almost unsettling. The humans' victory had caught the attention of other powerful galactic factions, and soon, humanity would no longer be fighting just the galactic empire. They would be facing all those who saw them as a threat. On the distant worlds of the Empire, whispers of the humans' victory were reaching the ears of other alien races. Some were intrigued by this bold, unpredictable species. Others were fearful. The idea that humanity had the ability to turn the tables in a simple game had many wondering what else humans might be capable of. Among the Empire's allies, there was a growing sense of unease. For years, they had trusted the Empire to keep the galaxy under control, but this one game, this one shocking defeat, had changed everything. There were those who felt the Empire's power was slipping, and they began to consider their own options. Meanwhile, the humans celebrated their success in their own way. Though the victory had been a strange one, the morale of the human forces was higher than ever. They were no longer just a species fighting for survival. They were a force to be reckoned with. And the AI's predictions continued to evolve, showing that humanity's rise was only the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. But even as the humans savored their victory, there were darker forces at play. The Empire was not the only threat humanity faced. In the shadows of the galaxy, there were factions that had been watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. The Empire's humiliation had opened a window for these groups to rise and challenge the newfound power of humanity. Carter knew that the true challenge was not the Empire's retaliation. It was what came next. The Empire would come for them, but that was a battle they were prepared to face. What they didn't know was how the other powers of the galaxy would respond to the rise of humanity. Would they see humanity as a potential ally, or would they unite against them, determined to crush this new threat before it could grow any stronger? As Carter stood on the bridge, looking out into the unknown, he couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy was on the brink of a new era. Humanity had made its mark, but the real test was yet to come. The victory over the Empire was just the start of something much larger, and for the first time, the humans could feel the weight of the galaxy's gaze upon them, both fearful and fascinated by what this small species might do next. The galaxy, once so vast and untouchable, had been shaken. The Empire's reign, long thought to be unchallenged, had been questioned. And now, humanity stood at the crossroads of destiny. Would they rise to become the galaxy's new rulers, or would they fall to the forces that now sought to eliminate them? The answer was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity's journey had only just begun, and the universe would never look at them the same way again. The dodgeball game had been a symbol, a catalyst that would spark a chain of events that would change the course of galactic history forever.